Well, now let's turn to Jef Gordan, who is our styrene modeler. And Jef, welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think this is where we left off last week. I must remark, it must be great minds think alike because of the similarity of the techniques in the several presentations tonight, including bracing the interior. As you've seen in my prior photos, I brace the interior of my styrene structures extensively. And I do prime, and I use Tamiya primer, which I also think is an excellent primer. And that's what's going on here. The right-hand photograph is the Grant Line castings have just been hit with Tamiya primer and then started to be painted with a white acrylic to give me the weathered white look. And then glazing. I do glaze with evergreen styrene material and cutting it to fit the window. But the question is how do you attach this evergreen styrene to the castings? In the old days, I would have used liquid plastic cement with a paintbrush and capillary action, and it's very, very tricky. And you sometimes ruin the windows with glue excess. And I've gotten away from that. And I discovered this product called canopy cement that the plastic modelers use for their model airplanes and model cars, of a thin, light, white cement, reminiscent of Elmer's glue, but not the same stuff. Dries absolutely clear, cleans up with water. So if you squish a little bit out, you can clean it up either with a toothpick or a little bit of water, and you get a completely clear window without stains around the edges and securely attached without the headaches of using glue, plastic cement, especially in a closed space where the plastic cement also could cause fogging. So there's the left-hand photo there. The windows have been painted and glazed. The foundation, as you saw in the previous slides, I left an extension of these reinforcing material to enable me to glue a embossed plastic sheet foundation, embossed to look like stone. And then the question is what do you do with it? Number one, as I put it in, I mitered the edges just like Tom did so that the edges disappear, and then painted it. First it's primed, then it's painted with a dark acrylic. I think I was using burnt umber here. Then I hit it with just a second coat, almost dry brushing the stones with another color, lighter brown, to highlight them a bit, and then even on a couple of stones, even another lighter color on top of it. And I like that this foundation is pretty subtle. There's not a lot of variation. It's all made out of the same kind of stone. So you can see they're separate stones, but it's not a, various stones in various colors. Other details. Last week, I talked about how I dry brushed the deck of the porch there. And you can see the effect there from that was primed in gray and then carefully dry brushed with a streaky white over the top. And it's the gray showing through and the white giving the streaking effect. The screen door is in place, and you can see that was, I showed last week how I scratch built the screen door frame from just stripped styrene materials. And the beauty of that is that you use the liquid plastic cement there to weld the joints together, and it sticks together really well. Once you get it where you want it, you hit it with a little of that plastic cement and it fuses, and you don't have to worry it coming back apart. Other details that you can see, I've added trim around the roof rafters, which is just the evergreen styrene strip material in an appropriate size. Here, I think it's about a scale 1x5. And the windows and doors, of course, have their own trim on them. The rather rough-looking horizontal piece there will disappear when I add the porch roof, but that's there to support the porch roof when it goes on. But I didn't worry about carefully painting it because it's going to be completely concealed once the porch goes in place. and then you can barely see on the wooden door on the left, it's got a doorknob, and it's the greatest little discovery. And one day when I got dragged into Walmart's with my wife, I ended up in the sewing section and found something called dressmaker's pins. And there's a box of like 100 dressmaker pins, cost next to nothing. And they have these tiny little heads and make perfect little doorknobs in O scale. Porch. So the basic porch is pretty easy here. On the left-hand side, you can see I decided on the height from my prototype. I had the measurements and cut the from an evergreen square strip material, the porch supports, just showing that they're all the same. And then gluing the roof, which is the same evergreen material that I used for the roof with the little raised seams added, glued to that ridge on the front of the building, and then just gluing the porch supports in place and using my little square there to indeed make sure they're square. And that takes care of the easy part of the porch roof pretty quickly, but the porch roof actually extends to the left there over the slanted addition to the building. And that's one of the things I like about this building is I like when there's something other than just straight rectangles and you have to fill in that piece of porch roof. And so here's how I did that. It starts at the middle picture. That's a piece of cardstock that I cut to fit the dimension of the porch roof on the right up here. And as you can see, it's too big here. And there's just a tiny little tick mark that I put there that shows exactly where it overlaps. Cut that off. And you can see it's pretty close there. That's again the cardstock. Then I go back to the evergreen roof material and cut an additional piece of evergreen roof material. Fortunately, the photo kind of cut off here. In addition to the 3 seams, there's another seam right on the edge. So that strip material is put down the edge there. And note it's also put across the top here. When you glue that in place, it really is effective. It gives you that additional piece of roof. It looks continuous, and it gives you that altered roof line. It's not, everything's not rectangular. This is numerous details are going on here because we're virtually finished. Up here, you previously saw the chimney is just a resin casting, which I've painted, mortared, but then once it's glued in place, it's got metal flashing around it. I also noticed that I did score this roof material to give you individual sheets. Roof trim, every place has got trim around the edges. Again, all just evergreen styrene strip material. Again, I said I used something that was approximately a 1x5 in O scale, and it just glues right in place. Couple of the screen door we've already talked about. Soda bottles. Those are Berkshire products castings painted up. I think they look very effective. Yellow, again, prime them because they're metal, primed with Tamiya spray, intentionally given a streaky coat of yellow because they're weathered. And then the bottles is a translucent green, and just hit each bottle with a little bit of translucent green. I think it came out great. Electric meter. That's just bits and scraps. I took a piece of styrene sprue, beveled the end so it wasn't just square, rounded it off, painted it white, put a little bit of black paint for where the meter portion would be, and then coated it very thoroughly with microcrystal clear. So it looks like it's got glass on the outside, and a piece of wire, and there's an electric meter. This gas pump is from our friend Daryl Jacobs in Interaction Hobbies. A terrific little kit. I've used several of them, and it just makes, it's laser cut wood, and it comes with the transparent, it comes with the print for the face of the pump, it comes with the pump handle, even comes with the flexible wire, and just put it together in accordance with Daryl's instructions. And I think it just makes a terrific looking period gas pump.
Simply.
Now, the other thing that really critical for this building, because again, I'm trying to match it to the original building, is these signs up here. And there's 3 different sign techniques on that front there. And each of those signs are matched to a prototype photo, which I'll show you in just a moment. But this is a commercial sign, just commercially purchased sheet of market and store signs. But you'll see in the prototype photo, this sign up here is a Royal Crown sign for some reason, but that's what the real store had, 2 Royal Crown signs, but it was a smaller one, and nobody made that one. So what was I going to do? I took this one, I photocopied it and reduced it in size and cut it down, and so that it looks a lot like the sign you'll see in a moment. And then this one was absolutely not available anywhere. Nobody makes a reproduction. I hunted the internet, couldn't find it. I had a photograph of the building square on. And so you worked with the photoshopping the actual sign that was on the building and modified it for size and printed it out. All of these signs are backed with extremely thin, like 0.01 styrene to give them a little body, and then attached with rubber cement, a very light coat of rubber cement on the styrene, a very light coat of the rubber cement on the paper, let them dry, and then stick them together, and your sign will never peel off, and the back is plastic, so it can be glued right to the surface of the building. This one, the St. David's Grocery sign, is the same technique, except, again, I wasn't going to do that letter by letter. So that was my word processor. It has like 80 or 90 different fonts in it. I went through the fonts until I found the font that I thought was closest to the prototype, and it enabled me to manipulate the spacing. You'll notice these are high-low capitals, just like the original. And I just tried various sizes until it matched. And so all these little details which match the original building. There we are, done. The model on the left on my layout. And in the center, there's the prototype photograph I was talking about. That was the store when it was open. And you can see the signs, the Stroman spread, the Royal Crown signs, the St. David's Grocery signs, all replicated, the soda bottles. And also one other little detail, you see the bench in the picture. It's kind of hard to see, but I added the bench, and that's more of the same evergreen styrene strip material, the 6x9. But in this case, it's heavily textured with a razor saw, and then painted first gray and then white over top to give it a heavily weathered piece of wood look. And so there she is. And I guess the most gratifying thing was when I was finished with this, I put these photographs on my community's webpage and pointed out that I had loved the St. David's store and I wanted to make a model of it. And the nicest comment I got from people was, it looks just like the way we remember it. It looks like just the way it was when we used to go in and buy ice cream from Miss Betty. And so I've immortalized the St. David's Grocery, and now it's got a place on my layout.
That is fantastic, Jef. Congratulations. That is one beautiful model.
Thank you.
And best of all, it's done in a material that I've never used before, but I'm really impressed with how easy it seemed to go together.
Well, that's really how I got into scratch building. It took some of the intimidation factor out of scratch building. The materials are easy to work with. Evergreen styrene, though it's gotten a bit more expensive than when I first started, still offers a tremendous variety of material, including several varieties of siding. It offers grooved sheets as well. It offers the raised seam roof material. So it gives you a tremendous launching point. and then the tremendous variety of strip material from thin strips to squared and so forth. It makes it very easy to cut out the parts. The material is easy to cut, easy to shape, easy to sand, easy to paint. And so it really, like I said, it's like putting together a plastic kit, just you have to make the parts first.
Yep. Well, thank you so much. Anybody have any questions or comments to Jeff?
Nice
Yeah,
job.
Sorry,
That
it's Clark Cooning.
Nice job. Very nice.
Thank you.
Jeff, do you ever go to a plastic supplier and you can buy 4x8 sheets of the stuff, eh?
If you want the plain sheets,
Yeah.
friends of mine also go to Home Depot or Lowe's and buy the things like for sale and for rent signs,
Right.
and use that plastic stock for the plain sheets.
Yeah, the other thing you can do is go to the bus guys. If you have a bus depot, the old bus signs are printed on that, and you can use, and they'll just give you the sheets. Yeah, and the other thing for windows, you should try using Future Floor Wax.
To glaze the windows.
No, to glue in the window.
Oh, to glue it in. Okay.
It's a trick that the IPS guys, the International Modelers guys, plastic modelers guys, showed me years and years and years and years ago. And I've been putting in, and you can also fix any scratches with that stuff as well. Yeah.
What's it called?
Future Floor Wax. You buy it at your store. I got to go for a second.
Okay. Jeff, thank you so very much. That's a beautiful model. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.